Part 3. The Sinister Diary. The mansion's grip on the friends tightened as they ventured further into its depths. The air grew heavy with a palpable tension, as if the very walls were holding their breath, waiting to reveal their darkest secrets. Whispers, soft as a sigh, brushed against their ears, sending shivers down their spines. In a long-forgotten corner of the mansion, they stumbled upon a room that seemed frozen in time. Cobwebs adorned the corners, and the air was thick with dust. Yet, amidst the decay, a singular item seemed untouched, an old, weathered diary, resting atop a dusty desk. Lena's fingers brushed the diary's leather cover, her curiosity piqued by the promise of untold stories. With trembling hands, she opened its pages, the inked words of a bygone era greeting her gaze. The diary's entries began innocently enough. A reclusive artist named Victor, chronicling his life in the mansion. But as Lena read on, the tone grew darker, the words devolving into a twisted symphony of madness and despair. As Lena read aloud, the room seemed to grow colder, the very air resonating with the diary's haunted words. The ink on the pages seemed to shift, forming new sentences that bore no trace of human hand. The diary's stories became their stories, their fears and doubts echoing through the text. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing their lanterns with a flicker. Darkness enveloped them, broken only by the eerie glow of the diary's pages. Lena's voice trembled as she read the diary's latest entries, each line becoming a harbinger of their own experiences within the mansion. Friends exchanged fearful glances, realizing that the diary was a conduit for the mansion's malevolent influence. The words on the page seemed to have a life of their own, shaping their reality and feeding on their growing unease. The diary's entries began to intertwine with their thoughts, blurring the lines between Victor's madness and their own fears. With a jolt, Lena closed the diary, but its ominous presence lingered, seeping into their very beings. The room seemed to close in on them, shadows dancing on the walls in time with their racing hearts. The diary had awakened something within the mansion, something that yearned to manipulate and consume. As night descended, they found themselves haunted by visions. Distorted figures crawled from forgotten canvases, their twisted forms a grotesque manifestation of the mansion's malevolence. Every corner held accusing eyes that seemed to pierce through their souls. Reality warped as the mansion fed on their fear, distorting their perceptions in a relentless game of torment. Amidst the chaos of their nightmarish visions, their bonds began to fray. The once strong friendship that had brought them to the mansion now faltered under the weight of suspicion and paranoia. Accusations flew, and trust became a fleeting memory as they struggled to grasp the fragile threads of reality. With dawn's feeble light came a temporary respite. They gathered in a dimly lit room, the flickering lanterns casting uneasy shadows on the walls. Their reflections in the dusty mirror bore witness to their worn-down spirits, their faces etched with exhaustion and trepidation. The diary's words continued to echo in their minds, each sentence a haunting reminder of the darkness that clung to them. They questioned the very nature of their reality, unsure of what was real, and what was real, and what was conjured by the mansion's influence. In the midst of their confusion, Lena's sketchbook lay open, its pages filled with sketches of their own nightmarish visions. Their friendship hung by a thread as they grappled with the weight of their shared experiences. The mansion had pried open their minds, exploiting their vulnerabilities and fears. The bond that had brought them here now seemed tenuous, as if the very mansion sought to sever their connection. But as the night loomed once again, a realization struck them. They were not alone. Their collective memories and shared traumas had forged a connection that the mansion could not fully sever. United by their ordeal, they faced a choice: to succumb to the darkness that sought to divide them, or to draw strength from their bond and confront the horrors together. As they huddled in the dim room, clutching their lanterns as beacons against the encroaching darkness, a silent agreement passed between them. Their connection, though strained, remained unbroken. With newfound determination, they steeled themselves for the battles yet to come, both against the mansion's malevolent force and the demons that lurked within themselves. The mansion's grip tightened as the friends struggled to discern between dream and waking nightmare. Their nights were plagued by twisted visions, horrors that seeped from the mansion's very walls and invaded their subconscious minds. Sleep became an elusive sanctuary, each slumber punctuated by grotesque apparitions that mirrored their deepest fears. Lena's artistic abilities took a sinister turn as her sketches transformed into nightmarish portrayals of the mansion's haunting denizens. Mark awoke in a cold sweat, plagued by memories of being chased through endless corridors by faceless specters. Sarah found herself trapped in a labyrinth of mirrors, her own reflection mocking her at every turn. Alex's laughter turned hollow as he dreamt of drowning in a sea of ink-black shadows, his breath stolen by the suffocating darkness. Jake's nightmares were punctuated by the echo of distant cries, as if the mansion was whispering its tormented history directly into his ears. Reality had lost its grip, and the line between sleep and wakefulness blurred into a nightmarish continuum. Friends gathered during the daylight hours, their exhausted faces revealing the toll their torment was taking. The mansion's malevolence had shattered their resolve, leaving them vulnerable and shaken. Their once vibrant camaraderie was now a fragile alliance, their unity weakened by the relentless onslaught of terror. As the night descended once again, the mansion's hold intensified. Lena's sketches began to take on a life of their own, the grotesque figures crawling from the pages and into the room. Sarah's skepticism crumbled completely when a spectral figure emerged from a mirror, its hollow eyes fixated on her with a chilling intensity. Mark's paranoia reached its peak as he felt a cold breath on the back of his neck. Even in the absence of a physical presence, Alex's laughter transformed into desperate cries for help as he found himself submerged in an ocean of ink-black despair. Jake's ears were filled with anguished wails, as if the mansion's walls were closing in on him with every passing second. Each vision left them gasping for air, their hearts racing with a terror that transcended the bounds of reason. They were no longer mere visitors to the mansion. They were pawns in its sinister game, puppets manipulated by a force they could not comprehend. The very fabric of reality seemed to bend under the weight of the mansion's malevolent influence. Dawn brought temporary respite, but the sanctuary of daylight could not erase the scars left by the night's horrors. They gathered in a room that had become both refuge and prison, the flickering lantern light casting long shadows that danced like phantoms on the walls. Their connection, though strained, remained their lifeline, a fragile thread that kept them from being consumed by the abyss. As the mansion's power intensified, the friends realized that their only hope lay in confronting their own fears. In the depths of their shared nightmares, they found fragments of themselves that were both familiar and alien. The mansion sought to exploit their vulnerabilities, but within their collective trauma was the potential for strength, a reservoir of courage that could be harnessed against the very darkness that sought to break them. With newfound determination, they faced their visions head-on. Lena turned her sketchbook into a weapon, using her art to channel her fear into a tangible form that she could control. Mark's paranoia was met with fierce defiance as he shouted into the abyss, refusing to be silenced by the mansion's tricks. Sarah met her reflection with a steely gaze, challenging the specter that taunted her from within the mirror. Alex laughed in the face of his drowning nightmares, his defiance a rejection of the darkness that sought to drown him. Jake's ears were filled not with cries of anguish, but with his own voice, reminding him of the bonds that united them. As their individual struggles converged, the mansion's grip began to weaken, its power waning in the face of their collective resilience. With the dawn of a new day, the mansion's hold began to falter. The friends emerged from the night's ordeal battered and scarred, but they were not broken. Their shared journey through the abyss had transformed them, forged in the crucible of their darkest fears. The mansion's malevolence had been met with unwavering unity, a force more powerful than any haunting apparition. As they stood amidst the mansion's shadows, a newfound strength pulsed through their veins. The journey was far from over, but they faced the challenges ahead with a resolve that had been tempered by the trials they had endured. Their bond had been tested and proven unbreakable, a testament to the indomitable spirit that resided within each of them.